Worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq hollering at you one more again. All right. Man. You know I'm going to say it. Yet again, another beautiful day. We got the sun just piercing through the cloud bank, as we'll call it, right? Beautiful fall day. Early. Man. Beautiful indeed. Beautiful indeed. So I rise today grateful to you all. Man, I love you all. Thank you all so much for helping to create, to build the worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Man, please, let's continue to build this thing. Please continue to like, share, subscribe. Man, follow me on all the platforms, right? Check out my Twitter feed for my music. Please check out all the streaming platforms. Make sure you check out my SoundCloud as well. Please, very important, folks. Please, because I've been really kind of going in with some very important and powerful posts on the community section of my YouTube channel. So please stop in there. The content and the format in which I present information in those posts is different than watching these videos. Both equally important. So please make sure you stop in there as well. I think I said my Twitter feed. Yeah, man. Please do that. Please tell everybody you know and tell some folks you don't know. And let's really race to continue to just exponentially grow this powerful, this beautiful worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. All right, so this is officially the first in the important 10-part series that I'm embarking on called What Are We? All right. And I'm going to jump right into it. So I'm going to pause for a minute. The beautiful black cat chilling in the cut. What's up? High energetic greetings. Hey, holler back at me real quick. All right. So I'm going to jump into this series, What Are We? Right? So, excuse me. Pardon me. So, I think it's important for us to, first of all, for me to lay out some sort of a format, right? For how exactly I'm going to record these videos, or particularly in this series. What I want to do is present you with some information that is esoteric at first, right? Just means that you may or may not be able to utilize typical scientific disciplines to prove or disprove the statement that I've made, right? Or at least it's not presently, right, accepted as proven or verified through typical and commonly accepted scientific means, right? Information that is more, this is often going to be information that's spiritual, right? Information that is metaphysical, right? Information that you would likely be able to verify or check the veracity of by looking within more than anything else, right? Does this resonate with you? And always following your gut, right? As I always say, never just believe what I tell you or anyone. Never. Always check it out for yourself in whatever means you feel is most viable. All right. And then after the esoteric information, I will try and present you some interesting facts or points that are derived from some scientific discipline, right? Okay. And then, with the two, then hopefully we together can come to some sort of a conclusion or a picture of what it is I'm presenting, and most importantly, that you could do so on your own, right? Okay, so to begin with this, what are we, right? Well, who is we? Who is we? When I say we, I'm talking about human beings on the planet, right? I'm not getting into the debate right now, human, not human, and all that. Or when I say human beings on the planet, I'm referring to anybody walking around on this planet who is living the human experience, right? I don't care if you're black, white, red, what walk of life, male, female, what your belief system is, your heritage, your anything, right? I'm inclusive of all of that, all right? And so, I first wanted to identify or make that clear so that I can identify that I'm essentially speaking to all of us, right? So no one in any part of this series, or any of my videos for that matter, do I want to feel excluded, left out, or like this is not for you, okay? Never want to have that be your thought. Know that we're all a part of this. So, all right. Now that we understand quickly a little bit about who I mean when I say we, let's get to the what are we at, I would say, the most basic level that I can begin with, right? And that's understanding that in order to be a full being on this planet, we incarnate into this planet. Well, what do you mean by that, Big King? Okay, so what I mean is we are spiritual beings, right? That is who we are beyond our existence on this planet, right? You are immense, powerful, glorious, beautiful, whatever expansive adjective on that we are. Probably it's do a whole nother series on spirituality, who we are spiritually, and sort of who we are outside of the human experience, right? But we're going to start there, that we are spirits that incarnate, and that begins the human experience. Now, when I say that, what exactly am I referring to? What process am I talking about? So, in the process of us incarnating on this planet, again, I said that our spirits are immense, folks. So when you think of your spirit, do not think of something that would be completely described by or contained in a physical unit, right? Your spirit is not, 5'4", 100-something pounds. Your spirit is not 6'6", 360, whatever you happen to be, folks. Physically, your spirit is much, much greater than that, right? Much greater than that. And in fact, holds no physical form. So at that stage, we are in fact non-corporeal. Okay? Non-corporeal just means that we are non-physical. We are not corporeal in the 3D, 4D linear experience. We are not a part of, or I'm describing something that is not a part of, limited to, or contained within a physical experience, right? Non-corporeal. So how do we become corporeal physical beings on this planet? Well, that is the incarnation process, right? We choose at the spirit level to incarnate, all right, into a particular physical expression and lifetime, okay? So what does that process look like? Well, that process is, remember I told you that your spirit is immense, folks, right? We can't use physical parameters to describe our spirit, because physical parameters are of a 3D, 4D linear limitation, while our spirit, or anything spiritual, is in fact multidimensional. It is not limited or contained in a 3D, 4D reality plane or experience. It is actually multidimensional. It is that and beyond, far beyond, because folks, there are essentially limitless dimensions. All right, there are scientists who have throughout quote unquote history attempted to define, what dimensions there are, describe and even number those dimensions, right? Only to find over and over and over again, and I mean literally in the laboratory, to find over and over and over again that there's always more to it. So much more. And they're going to continue to find more and more and more and more. But that's the journey, and that's beautiful. But yeah, as spirits, we are immense, and in this this incarnation process, right? We incarnate by some of our spirit, right? Think of if it is easier to grasp, think of your spirit as energy, right? As immense energy. In fact, I recall, just to give you an example, I remember I was watching a TV show once. Folks, you find and can glean a lot from TV shows, from movies, from documentaries, from everywhere, right? You can walk down the street or take a walk through a nature path, a wooded path, and it doesn't matter where you're at. You can be on a beach, you can be on a cliff, you could be driving in a car. You can always glean information from your surroundings. So there was a TV show. I think it was, what's the John with the two brothers who are somebody could probably comment and help me out in it later, whatever, but you'll probably know what I mean. Two brothers that are like hunters of, like, demons and werewolves and things of that name. I think it's spiritual. I used to watch the show, and now it's not escaping me. But anyway, on that show, I was watching a particular episode, and they were giving a description of soul energy or spirit, right? And how big even the human soul is. Um, and it rung true with something that I'd heard in movies, that synchronicity really chimed in for me, which is that you're talking about more energy than 100 suns, right? And they were describing the human soul, and we haven't gotten to that point yet. So when you're thinking about a spirit, just think of immense energy, unlimited energy, right? Don't think of any limitation on the spirit, because you'd be wrong, right? And at least in my opinion, you'd be completely wrong to say, well, your spirit is this and limited to this and this much energy. There is no limit on your spirit, because your spirit, in fact, since we're going back to origins, where does our spirit come from, right? What is our spirit? Our spirit, folks, is the creator's energy, right? Source. It's source energy expressed in a specific spiritual essence, right? This is where a concept comes in that some of you may be familiar with, which is fractalization, right? Our spirits are fractal portions. I don't want to use portion, because somebody's going to misconstrue that into thinking that I'm saying we're separating or dividing the creator's energy in some way, and that's not what I mean. Fractalization. Oh, this may help. Have you ever seen a picture where, let's say it's a sheep, for example, right? And from far away, you can see clearly that, oh, that's a sheep. And you get closer, and you see, well, the picture's becoming a little more granulated, shall we say, and you say, oh, there's pieces to this picture. It's almost like pieces to a puzzle that form the picture of the sheep. And then you get even closer and take a closer observation to find that, in fact, the pieces of the puzzle are complete sheep, right? That are the same as the entire picture of the puzzle, right? So we have a picture that is made up of smaller pictures of the total picture. I hope that's not too confusing, but some of you know that may help you in description, right? At least I hope it does. So, yeah, man, fractalization is a very good way to understand what we are in relationship to source, right? None of us is the totality of source, right? I'm not stating that any one of us is the creator, right? Or anything is the creator. But we are all fractal of the creative source. We are all fractals of the creative source. So that's just to give some background or understanding of where our spirit actually comes from, right? Comes directly from source, from the creative source of everything. Now, our spirit in the incarnation process to become corporeal, first of all, why would such a grand and beautiful divine expression of the creator's energy even seek to become corporeal, right? Well, there's a very good reason for that. And that is to learn, folks, to experience things situations, scenarios, feelings, emotions, different states, mental, spiritual, physical, to experience different states and aspects of the entire human experience, right? It is an incredibly multifaceted experience, all right? So, in thinking about the spirit and the incarnation process, okay, keeping in mind again the immenseness of what a spirit is, let's think now about the process of that spirit incarnating, right? And again, why, right? To learn, because as a spirit, certainly you do not experience the limitations, the different facets or aspects of what it is to be a human being, to be physically incarnate, right? In fact, we actually have to understand that experience, pardon me, folks, a little something in the throat there. But that understanding of why we incarnate is important. As spirits, we don't feel tired. We don't feel hungry. We don't feel, many of the limitations, thought processes, emotions, many of the things that make up the quote unquote human experience, right? As a spirit, you're not going to have the depth of an experience like betrayal, right? Or the depth of an experience like experiencing death of a loved one, right? Quote unquote death of a loved one. Things like that are things that your spirit actually uses or utilizes through the incarnation process. As you become a human being, your spirit uses those experiences and what you glean from those experiences to shape and mold your experience, right? To shape and mold you as a spirit. Your spirit uses all of that to grow, right? And remember, I say that the process is experience, learn, grow, mature. So this is all how we gain spiritual maturation, right? That is why we incarnate, to gain spiritual maturation. I'm going to say it again. That is why we incarnate, to gain spiritual maturation. All right. So now we've talked about why we incarnate. Let's flip it back to the process of incarnating, right? So incarnating means to become incarnate or to embody, right? And we talk about that process and what that actually looks like, or what is that process of incarnation. Well, we talked about the spirit energy and how immense that energy is. For that energy, or some of that energy, to go from being corporeal to, from non-corporeal to corporeal, or in layman's terms, physical, right? Of the physical plane or 3D, 4D linear reality, to go from the spiritual or multidimensional and incarnate into the physical or 3D, 4D linear. what process has to happen? Well, your spirit, again, I spoke of how immense and incredibly powerful your spirit is. It's a bit too much to be contained in a physical vessel, right? It truly is. So what is formed is called the soul layer, right? Or the human soul. The human soul is that energetic or spiritual aspect of yourself, that layer of yourself that allows or creates, allows for or creates the connection, right? I'm trying to think of a better word. Forgive my lack of description. We'll go back to connection. That connection of some of spirit interfaced. There we go. Your soul acts as an interface for that spirit energy that is incarnating, right? Becoming corporeal. Your soul layer becomes that interface between your spirit and your physical body, your physical vessel, right? It becomes the conduit. I believe that is the word I was looking for. The conduit for spiritual energy to be present in your physical form. All right, that's your soul layer. That's what your soul, how your soul functions in the incarnation process, right? So let's separate and understand the difference between the two. Your soul, right, which is spiritual in nature, but is the conduit for your physical body to accept in spiritual energy, your spiritual energy, right? It is the conduit for that soul layer. It's not the same thing as your spirit, for your spirit does not have any limitation, right? But I wanted to make that differentiation before we go any further on that particular portion of the discussion on the incarnation process. So, and we're going to get ready to wrap this up pretty soon, but I think we've made some important progress in understanding the process and how it goes, how it is that we become physical beings on this planet. All right, so we've gotten to the point of discussing the soul and what the actually is, right? And how it plays into this process of incarnation. So once your soul is formed, right, that conduit is formed, and then your spiritual energy now is incorporated into a physical being, right? Well, we'll even go into what that looks like a little bit, right? Remember I said that your soul is spiritual in terms of the energetic nature of it, right? As such, as that energy, how does that interface with your physical being? Okay, that interfaces with your physical being through your body's energetic system, which we call the chakra system. All right, which your chakras are merely vortexes of energy within your body. I think that's the best word for me to use. I was going to say portal. Portal really refers more so to